Scanning for audio.
Hello and welcome to a very short Tin Dog podcast. I don't often comment on other people's podcasts. As a rule, I don't think I've done it in the last 260 odd shows. But you see, I have to. A couple of weeks ago, the DWO Whocast got to interview Ian Levine. A notoriously shy man. No, I'm not going to be sarcastic here. Ian Levine is an enigma. You see, he's done such utterly brilliant work. Fandom wouldn't even look remotely the way it does. Our DVD collections wouldn't look like they do without his sterling work. The guy is enthusiastic enough to power the whole of England. But he's had a bad press. Now I just want to point you in the direction of these two podcasts. It runs at almost 3 hours. But you will, and I'm using the little rabbit ears here, learn a lot about early Doctor Who, or at least one man's opinion of Doctor Who in the 70s and 80s. Now admittedly, like any fan, his opinions are biased and skewed slightly to match his own opinions, if you see what I mean. But he was there, and we weren't. Many of the people who were there are no longer with us, so of course his opinions are all we have left, and I'm a great believer in looking beyond the text to see the true meaning of something. Hell, that was the whole point of astrology. But I just need you to listen to these interviews. They are fabulous. Yes, they're biased, of course. And yes, they are the words of a man who, well, is disliked by fandom on many levels. But I, for one, am grateful, ridiculously grateful for the things he did. And if he did half of the things that he says he did, and I've got no reason not to believe him, well, we've got a lot to be grateful for. Now in the interview, Ian also talks about his time on Gallifrey Base and how people basically come after him with a stick. Now, he does come across as the sort of person who, if you don't agree with him, he dislikes you or develops some sort of hatred. Can I just say, this guy's got such a fantastic memory for the names of people. It's as if he writes them all down in a book of some sort. But if Gallifrey Base and all the forums in the world annoy you or scare you, or if Facebook just irritates you just a tad, even Twitter, well, just leave. The universe does not collapse if you spend any time away from the internet. And to be honest, we did spend several million years without it. And we coped perfectly well. I want to see the projects this guy talks about. I'll make my own judgments up. But the way that copyright law stands at the moment, and the guy's really, covering himself to make sure that he doesn't go to jail, we probably won't get to see them in my lifetime. But we might. We can live in hope, can't we? Full versions of Dimensions in Time that might even be, watchable. I want to make my own mind up about his Shada. Why does that sound dubious? Leave it there. But yes, I want to see these projects. Yes, the guy is bordering on manic, but there's a reason for this. He's been burnt and has just kept going. He's invested an absolute fortune of his own money into Doctor Who, its preservation. And perhaps, yes, a lot of the dislike for him is based in jealousy, but it's also based in, his drive and his ambition. But his ambition is to preserve Doctor Who, and hey, no one can say anything bad about that, can they? So that was a short TDP, just to point you in the direction. Go over to Doctor Who Online, go to iTunes, download those 2 interviews and just give them a go. Yes, he's manic. But wouldn't you be? Be seeing you. You have been listening to the Tin Dog Podcast. Doctor Who and its associated shows are copyright of the BBC. No infringement is intended. To contact the show, email tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. To order, or simply find out more about the book Whostrology, the Time Traveller's Almanac, visit whostrology.com. The Tin Dog Podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.